Hi everyone, this video is for those who can understand English and also speak English but not very much satisfied with the fluency. So if you are looking at improving your fluency in English, you want to speak English fluently, I'm sure this video may help you. But before I start the video, I have to tell you what is fluency basically. So fluency is the ability to speak or write in a foreign language easily and accurately. Having said the definition of fluency, there are many ways to look at it. How to improve fluency, there are many ways to look at it. However, I'll share with you my own personal experiences in my life and a few things that I have done to improve fluency in English language. Number 1, reading. Yes, reading is definitely important. I don't exactly remember how and when I started reading in my life, but yes, I used to read a lot of stuff. Please understand the practical fact. While you're reading, what is actually happening? While you're reading, you're actually getting to know a lot many words. Practically, you're doing friendship with words, right? You're actually doing friendship with grammar. So reading enables you know a lot many words and different phrases, vocabulary, different structures of grammar. So what is a basic problem in fluency? What is a setback in fluency? You don't find the words, right? You start to speak in English and somewhere you are stuck because you don't find the words. So reading gives you a lot many words. Now what happens when you have a lot of words in your mind? You don't need to search for the words. So reading is definitely what I have done in my life. If not exaggeration, I don't remember a day in my life when I didn't read anything. And what you read is up to you. You can read English newspaper or magazines or English novels and so on. But reading gives you a lot of stuff and confidence to speak English fluently. Number 2, speak to yourself. Yes, I used to speak to myself a lot. And this is not something new that I'm telling you. But yes, I used to speak to myself a lot. See, understand the fact. If you are born and brought up in the environment where everybody around you is speaking in English, you are lucky because you get to talk to them, you communicate with one another in English. The job is done easily. But if you are in the environment where nobody around you speaks English or nobody around you doesn't want to speak in English or doesn't need to speak English, you have only one option left, speaking to yourself. I remember a lot many days in my school days and college days when I used to speak to myself. But remember, when you speak to yourself, be allowed. Because what happens is when you speak to yourself, within your mind, you think you are actually improving your language, but the reality is different. So when you speak to yourself, please understand, speak to yourself aloud. Your voice should be heard by you. So speak to yourself is something that really helped me a lot in my life to improve my fluency in English. And number 3, writing. This third point about writing, I'll tell you what I've done. In my school days, there was a magazine called CSR. Of course, even that is now today, Competition Success Review, a very popular magazine, and this magazine is especially known to those who prepare for civil services. And those days I was not very much into civils preparation, but there was a very important essay writing contest in CSR, Competition Success. Even today you go to any bookstall, you find the CSR magazine, and yes, there is even today the contest. Every month, I remember 2 topics are given and you can choose one and write an essay and send that to them. And like many people send essays to them, they will choose the best and award them. And your photograph is also published. In my 9th or 10th standard, my photograph was published in CSR magazine, and that was a very happy moment those days. And that motivated me to write more and more essays every month. I remember till my graduation, I didn't miss even a single month writing essays. So you can start writing essays to magazines like this. If not, you can do a very simple task. Take a piece of paper, choose a topic, or choose an experience that was in your life. Choose anything, write an essay on the paper and give the paper to someone who is good at English and take their feedback. Because writing, reading, listening and speaking, these are all interdependent and very closely related. So in my life, writing helped me a lot improve my language proficiency. And number 4, yes, listening, no doubt, because what comes to you, yes, unless you get the right input, you can't really bring out the right output. So listening is, I think, the basic thing. I used to listen to a lot of stuff. Yes, in our school days, we didn't have mobile phone, we had television, but any program that came on television in English, made with the interview with a politician, which was happening in English, or anything, any damn thing happening in English, I used to listen very carefully. Even when I was watching a cricket match, my focus was more on the commentary than the actual match going on. I used to put the maximum volume and listen to what Gavaskar or Harsha Bogle was actually commenting. So listening really helps you a lot, because what happens is when you listen to someone who is talking in English without your knowledge, you actually start imitating them. I remember in my earlier days, I used to imitate Pranay Roy. The way he used to communicate in English, his voice, his intonation. So what happens is listening gets you a lot of clear cut, crystal clear, role model, and we feel like, yes, I should really speak like this person. So listening a lot. Today, yes, we all have the mobile phones with us. So you really browse the internet. There are a lot of audio and video English related spoken English files available. You can keep listening, and that really brings a big difference. So keep listening to English as much as possible. And number 6, learn new words. In one of my earlier videos, I also said the same thing. Unless you learn new words every day, you can't do really all the above things that I've shared with you. Please make sure you learn new vocabulary, because every day you get to learn some new words, your confidence is actually developed. For example, yesterday you learned a new word like, for example, desperate or abduct or abscond, and today you find the same word in the newspaper, you are motivated. Please make sure you learn the maximum number of words, because in any language, words are the basic things. Words are the strength. Be it English or Telugu or Tamil or Kannada, vocabulary is the basic thing which is like a kind of license. So listening is definitely going to make a big difference, and similarly learning new words. And the most important thing I have to share with you is grammar check. See, usually when you ask someone how to improve English or how to be fluent in the language, you get to hear a common advice that if you want to improve your spoken English or fluency, keep talking. Definitely it's a good advice. Unless we keep talking, unless we keep speaking in English, we can't really be fluent. However, having said that, imagine if your grammar is very bad. Imagine your communication has a lot of grammar error, and then you're actually practicing the wrong grammar. It leads to broken English. And you know, once you have practiced a lot broken English, you can't really get rid of that. So please understand, practicing is very important, but check your grammar. I remember I can divide my entire English language learning phase in 3-4 categories. The first 2 phases were good enough. I was confident, I was fluent. When I entered the 3rd and 4th phases, somewhere I realized my grammar is not correct. I was not using the right prepositions. I was not using the right helping verbs. I was using has in the place of have or do in the place of does. And then I started very carefully learning grammar like a school kid. Because what happens is when you practice a wrong grammar, it is a bigger problem. So be very genuine, be very honest, and check your grammar. No, there is nothing much to hesitate about it. Be again a school child who learns the grammar, and be proud to become a school kid again when you're learning English. And take feedback. I used to take a lot of feedback. Even today, whatever I do, whatever video I make or whatever decisions I make in my life, I try to take feedback from my friends or family members, and that really gives you a good stuff. At times you get a very good piece of advice that really adds a lot to your process. So take feedback as much as possible, listen to all, but decide yourself. So taking feedback from others is really important. I remember an experience. I used to call my brother and say, Bhaiya, I'll say something now in English and listen to that and give me feedback. And I used to narrate a story, or I used to describe an incident. I used to say something in English, some stuff in English, and ask him to correct my grammar. So that is how taking genuine feedback from others is really a very important stuff. And I can say number 9, don't be afraid of mistakes, because please understand, English is not our own language, it is a foreign language. You're learning the language of foreign, so definitely mistakes are inevitable. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Like in one of the above ideas I've shared with you, it's important to correct your grammar mistakes. At the same time, don't try to be perfect, because when you're learning a foreign language, perfection is not the main criterion you should aim at. So mistakes are inevitable, but again, don't ignore them. As much as possible, try to rectify them. But don't be afraid of mistakes. Don't try to be perfect. Learning is a continuous process, and one fine day you will definitely find yourself better than before, if not perfect. And the last suggestion that I want to give you is, if you want to be fluent in English, first decide to be fluent. Yes. Unless and until you really decide to be fluent, you really want seriously to be fluent in English, things really can't be changed much. In my 11th and 12th standard, I decided to be fluent in the English language for my own reasons. So once we decide something from the bottom of the heart, that really happens. I'm sure these are some of the things, important changes that I have made in my life to improve my fluency in English. Still I am working on the same to make it much better, and I hope this will definitely help you to be fluent in the English language. All the best.